What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? We in the building. We in the building, we in the building. We got that Venus retrograde. It just went retrograde about 45 minutes ago. It's about to get interesting, man. It's about to get interesting. About to get interesting, Jack. Good looking on the badge, Wizard CJ. About to get interesting in the United States. Y'all see how the stock market been going crazy, right? That's what Venus and Leo do. That's what Venus and Leo do. It make the bag jump. It make, people and situations look more appealing than they are. It make people ball out luxuriously based on their ego. Venus and Leo can create the type of deception that makes a lot of motherfuckers with champagne tasting beer money show up. That's Venus and Leo. Venus and Leo, has a capacity to really, bring out false self-worth and ego-driven profits and benefits, which you're seeing in the stock market and things right now. Everything is looking magnificent and great because, Venus rules the United States 5th and 6th house, because, they got intercepted signs. So they got, Taurus on the 5th and 6th house cusp of the United States natal chart. Now, because Venus rules the 5th and 6th house, the 5th house rules investments. The 5th house rules investments. It rules, the stock, how the nation markets itself and things like that. And the 6th house, it rules the stock market itself. It rules, pension funds. It rules public servants, which are police, military, and things like that. And again, by Venus being retrograde in Leo in the 9th house, you are going to see the United States back that ass up. You're going to see them, slowly starting to withdraw their influence from overseas. Not because they want to, because they have to. Because they have to, man. And this man, look, Venus is also gonna oppose the United States natal moon. Now the moon, it rules, naturally it rules food, but in the United States house it rules, the 8th house of death, debt, the national debt, economy, things like that. You gonna see the stock market get rocked, man. You're gonna see the stock market get rocked, and you're gonna see a lot of industries, going on strike and things like that bring about a lot of ego-driven response and childlike behavior when it comes to this stuff. So don't be surprised if you see things of insignificance going crazy on the stock market. Ego-driven value driven by deception of the ego. This is the things that happen when Venus goes retrograde in Leo, and it exposes a lot of bad decisions, in the houses governed by Venus. And in the United States chart, that's the 5th and 6th house, and it's the 10th and 11th house, which are in Libra. So as Venus moves into retrograde and hits that opposition with the moon, which means it's backtracking over it, making a station over that planet, and it's gonna show you guys that a lot of the stuff in the stock market. And if you've been following my marketing page, Full Time Pressure, I've been talking about this, false positive readings of the stock market and things like that, and real estate market collapse and things like that. I've been telling you guys about that stuff. And Venus retrograde is going to bring the pain. Venus retrograde is going to bring the pain. Now, Mars is in, let me get my glasses right quick because I'm looking at my computer screen over here. Mars is in Virgo, and it's in the 9th house. So you're going to see some legal victories and some legal battering of minorities. So I don't want to hear no crying about it. Don't send me no crybaby McBitch shit about what they're doing. Cause I know what's coming, and I knew it was coming, and the world is going to fucking world. People are going to people. You have to decide, what type of person you're gonna be and what type of impact you're gonna have on other people during your human experience. The world is gonna world. Ain't no saving the world. I don't come on here to try to save the world. I just talk to the people who have sense enough to listen and apply what they fucking learn, But Mars and Virgo is gonna make a nice opposition to the moon in mid-August, and we got a lot of. This is the summer of retrogrades, man. Summer retrogrades, and you're gonna see a lot of fact checking coming. We know right now we got Saturn is retrograde in the United States 3rd house. Saturn rules the United States 2nd house of money and resources. Saturn being in Pisces and going retrograde, this is telling you that a lot of deception and false communication about the financial status of the United States, pension funds. You see, Saturn rules, the 3rd house rules Hollywood, entertainment, media, communication vehicles. You see the Hollywood actors are on strike. The writers went on strike. As Venus goes retrograde, you are going to see a brutal damage to the delivery system if the UPS workers go on strike, and if the Teamsters choose to go on strike after that. You are going to see devastation, economic devastation in the United States. You are about to see the working class and unions rise up against corporations in a way that hasn't been seen in a very, very long time. Since before there was power steering in cars. So because of this action that's gonna come about by the unions and protesters and workers and things like that, you are going to see some legal changes in the way things are done. You're gonna see some legal changes, and what I'm telling you, things because Aquarius is on the United States 3rd house, things like Uber, Lyft, different DoorDash and Uber Eats, and these companies that are classifying employees as contractors and not giving them benefits and things like that. You are going to see a legal ass whooping come to these companies. You're about to see some crazy shit unfold. Real crazy. This summer we also have Uranus going retrograde, and Uranus going retrograde is what I would advise you guys to be cautious about and prepare for. As you can see, there's a lot of extreme weather going on. Uranus rules the weather. And again, that's in the United States 3rd house. The 3rd house, it rules communities, neighborhoods. It rules transportation. Transportation also involves logistics, food supply chain. The 6th house also rules farming and food supply chain. So I need you to be very aware that, as Venus goes retrograde, you're gonna see some issues with the food supply, farming, food costs, things like that. We got, when Uranus goes retrograde in Taurus, I think that's in the middle of August. Then we're gonna have Jupiter retrograde too. Yep, it's gonna be very interesting, to say the least, man. Tomorrow, Mars makes a square to Uranus again. Uranus rules the third house of transportation. That's gonna cover those truck drivers. Truck drivers are teamsters and union workers. You know, and that square aspect in the sign of Gemini says it's going to be some difficulties in communications and getting logistics going. It's going to be some strikes. It's going to be some strikes, and my advice to you is make sure you're in a situation where you can handle the world coming to a stop around you. Make sure you tighten right. Good thing with the chart is, you know, the sun and Leo, you know, in the 8th house of the United States, which you know, puts a highlight on the debt and things like that, and motivates people to be more consciously aware of debt and foreign debt holders, because the sun rules the 9th house in the United States chart, and that rules, you know, foreign people and foreign allies. So I need y'all to make sure, you know, you're paying attention, not just to the crap that's going on over here. It's bigger than what's going on over here. This is just one gear in the machine of the world. Be smart. Don't limit yourself to what's going on here or what's going on in your social media feed. It would be in your best interest. Thank you, K. Dot, for grabbing the badge. Like I said, you know, Saturn retrograde in Pisces. It's retrograde in Pisces. So, you know, at 6 degrees. So right now it's retrograde into a trine with Jupiter. Then it's going to fall into a trine with Venus. And these retrogrades into the trine are going to make people reevaluate, you know, the image and you know, perception of the United States around the world. Good looking on the badge, man. Created sacred elements. Thank you. So the retrograde with Saturn to give the United States the opportunity to reevaluate how they're playing the financial situation, to give them a reevaluation opportunity for their image and the outlook of the world. And if they don't change it, it's going to get uglier for this country. The more they refuse to change, the uglier it's going to get. You know, again, if you follow the full-time pressure page, you know, I talk about, you know, civil wars going on within the government. And if you understand that the interest rates and the things going on at the Federal Reserve, you know, and in the Congress and the Security Exchange Commission, if you understand these things, you understand that, like, they're really going at it. And just because you don't see any bombs and guns going off in public and shit like that in the United States, it doesn't mean that it isn't a civil war going on. That's what you call a Cold War. Thank you for grabbing the badge. I am Bodio. You know, it's a Cold War. And it's going to affect the people. It's going to affect, you know, black people the most, because they have a tendency to be unconcerned about things, you know, and I attribute that to trauma, man. Like our people are so traumatized that, you know, we're oblivious to danger. So traumatized that we're oblivious to danger. You know, if we could channel that into a different direction, we would be all right. You know, if we could channel that obliviousness to danger that we have when it comes time for shooting our own people up, or, you know, not caring about international politics. If we could have that obliviousness to danger when it came time to you know, invest in our friend's business, or, you know, support a black business, or start a business partnership with engineers in Africa or corporations in China, when you can, you know, use that obliviousness to fear, to overcome obstacles and indoctrinations that been put in your mind that limit the people and situations you're willing to put yourself in that had the potential to make you thrive. When you can channel that obliviousness to danger, to situations like that, that's when you really become a dangerous motherfucker. That's when you become a threat to the delusion of white supremacy. When you decide that you are not going to allow somebody else to decide where the fuck you can go and what fucking businesses you can get down in. And Venus retrograde in Leo is here to tell you, you need to reflect on your self-worth. You need to reflect on your self-worth. You need to reflect on also your lack of self-worth and your over seriousness of this human experience. Because a lot of people, you know, flaunt the braggadocio and you know, royalty, royal air and arrogance and confidence of Leo, but nobody talks about the creative aspects. The creative aspects and the childlike aspects of Leo that allow you to harness your creativity, because Leo is a sign of the king, and in order to be a king or royalty in any fashion, whether it's matriarchal or patriarchal, whatever the fuck you want to, you know, words to make you want to put on the shit, you know, you have to be able to be creative. A king is creative. They can, you know, create opportunities to look out for their people, to protect the interests and further the interests of their kingdom, to make sure that they are the trustees of the happiness and success of their subjects. That's what being a king is about. Or a queen. You get to rock the crown. You get to call the shots because you are willing to take responsibility for the happiness and well-being of the people that have subjected themselves to your creativity, your genius, your understanding, your conscious awareness, because that's what the sun personifies, your conscious awareness of your soul's power, potential, and purpose. Venus is the hand mirror. So when you see, you know, Venus in Leo is telling you to not only reflect on your self-worth and your ability to govern and aid and assist your community, Venus in Leo is telling you that you need to also reflect on your creative potential. Reflect on your self-awareness. Reflect on your divine placement in this world. To rule. To exercise your creative will. Y'all love the Bible. The Bible tells you man was created in God's image and likeness. Let us create man in our image and our likeness. Apparently, you know, let us create mankind, meaning man and woman. So there's male and female gods. All you got to do is know what you're reading. It tell you flat out in the Bible. Let us create man in our image. That's what y'all books say. So mankind is created in the image of the gods, which that's male and female gods, and male and female people. And if to have the likeness of God, that means you must have similar characteristics and qualities. I tell y'all this all the time. You are either a creator or you are a slave to creation. That's what separates heaven from hell. The creators create their reality. They create opportunities for themselves. They create products and services. They exchange their knowledge, their divine knowledge, for worldly wealth. Whether they're creating a training or a gift or a meal, they are creating, and the slaves to creation who worship their creation exchange their time, their energy, and their life force for that thing that was created. So Venus and Leo is just asking you, reflect on your creative potential and your awareness of your divinity. Are you a creator or are you a consumer? Mr. Spirit 1080, thank you for grabbing the badge. Are you a creator or a consumer? This is what Venus and Leo is asking you to reflect on. Are you maximizing your creative potential? Are you reflecting on and fully aware of your divinity, of your divine consciousness? Are you promoting it properly? Because Leo naturally resides on the 5th house. The 5th house is the sign, the house that rules marketing and promoting yourself. So Venus, retrograde in Leo, is asking you, how are you promoting your divinity? Are you promoting yourself as a creator of life-giving things and nourishing things, or are you a creator of chaos? Venus is the sign that rules riches, possessions, value, and self-worth. Are you reflecting on your self-worth? Are you seeing your divinity? Are you seeing yourself as a king, a queen, or a peasant, or a court jester? Do you recognize your nobility? That's what Venus in retrograde in Leo is going to ask you to do. And the house where Venus is retrograde at is where you need to address that issue and reflect on your self-worth at. If it's your first house, it deals with your self-image and how other people perceive you. Thank you for the badge, Terrence Trent. If it's in your second house, it has to do with your self-worth, your inner worth, your personal value system, and your possessions. Your net worth will always be connected to your self-worth. And your self-worth is a reflection of your network. Because you will only gravitate and resonate with people who match your vibration. So even if you all on the positive tip and shit, and good brother shit, good sister shit, if you only attracting scumbag motherfuckers around you, that tell you something about what's going on in here. Because your page may reflect one thing, your mouth may say one thing, but the people who you network with and surround yourself with are a reflection of your magnetic pull, your gravity, your magnetism, and your self-worth. Determine the type of quality of motherfuckers who gravitate to you. So as Venus is retrograde in Leo, you need to reflect on that, especially if it's in your second house. Your self-worth will always determine the quality of people that gravitate around you. Your self-worth. If it's in your third house, your thinking style. How much do you allow your creativity to be limited in your thoughts? How many times do you kill your great ideas? Or, give yourself reasons and excuses for why they can't succeed. If Venus is retrograde in your third house, you need to, check your thinking style, especially when it comes to your ego and your belief in your own, ideas' ability to thrive. I understand, bro. I understand, and it be random, but I was late too. I was 10 minutes late too. But we talk. You already know I'm gonna save it. But we talking about the Venus retrograde, a little bit about the United States. Now we jumping into talking about y'all. If you got Leo on your fourth house and Venus retrograde in your fourth house, then you need to reflect on issue. And we're gonna touch on this in class for my students in here. We're gonna jump on the fourth house issue tomorrow in class. But if you got Venus retrograde in your fourth house, you're going to be reflecting on, do you really find value in the traditions and things that come from your family? Because the fourth house rule your family, it rule your traditional roots. It rule the karma that you carry into your life path that you gain from your family. We pick up a lot of bullshit from our family. The fourth house rule your father, and the lack of your father or your father's presence in your life, is going to be determined by the placements in your fourth house and the sign on your fourth house. And if Venus is retrograde and Leo in your fourth house, you're going to have to, check into them daddy issues and really reflect on some of the false masculinity and egocentric things that you picked up from your father or picked up from the environment around you because you didn't have a father. It's time to check that. The fifth house, the fifth house again is a house of creativity. It's the house of your children, recreational sexual relationships, gambling, investments, things like that. Have you been doing the right things with your money? Retrograde in the fifth house, have you been making the right type of investments? Have you been, squandering your wealth trying to make your children live vicariously through you because you couldn't have Jordans and all that shit when you were a kid? Putting them in shit you wanted to play in and couldn't be great at? If you're doing this type of stuff, you're fucking with your kids' self-worth. You're destroying their individuality. And you need to check your motherfucking self. You need to check yourself. Sixth house, we're talking about the health. You got Leo on your sixth house, you are inclined to issues with your blood pressure and heart. Leo rules, the heart. That's the organ that the sign Leo rules. And also it rules again the self-worth. With Leo being connected and the sun being connected to the solar plexus chakra, it deals a lot with self-worth. So when you got Leo on your sixth house and Venus retrograde in there and you're not feeling good, it's because you're not feeling yourself. You're not feeling yourself. Illness starts on a vibration level first. That's why it's called disease. That means dis-ease. Your frequency is out of ease, which allows things to enter your aura. When things enter your aura, they, anger goes to your liver, fear to your kidney, grief to your lungs, sorrow to your heart. These things start affecting systems in your body. And when the systems start getting affected energetically, then it starts affecting the organ's performance, because energy is what powers the organ systems. Seventh house, you're dealing with relationships, close friendships, any legal issues that came about, contracts, things like that are ego driven, dealing with, fame and celebrity. If it ain't really for you and ain't beneficial to you, let it go. That eighth house, have you been spending outside of your means? If so, that debt gonna catch up to you. And it give you an opportunity to deal with any debt issues and things like that you got going when it's retrograde in the eighth house. Retrograde give you time to come clean up any messes and fix anything you had going on. So don't sweat and worry about the retrograde. In ninth house, you dealing with travel and higher education and things like that. And it's really good for people who have it retrograde in the ninth house, because it gives you an opportunity to reflect on your knowledge and what you know. And are you maximizing the monetary potential of what you know? Because the ninth house is the house of higher education. You always had the opportunity, you know, with Venus in that house, you always had the opportunity to generate money from what you know. 10th house, it has to do with your place in the world, you know, your career. Are you stunting on people and don't have to really waiting your nuts to drop your nuts on somebody? If you've been trying to drop nuts and you ain't got no heavy nuts, don't be surprised if it come back to bite you in the ass. Don't be surprised. 11th house, you dealing with your network, you know, wealth and value that you gain from your place in the world. And, you know, if you're not, you know, really taking the opportunity to showcase your skill set and help people appreciate you in your, you know, associations and superficial relationships and things like that, don't expect a big payout. Expect to be overlooked if you're not, you know, working to be seen in your networking opportunities. The 12th house is the house that's all about, you know, taking a break, finding yourself. And sometimes, you know, taking a break is, you know, when you got, you know, Venus retrograde in the 12th house, is taking time to pamper yourself and care for yourself and really spend lavishly on yourself so you can recuperate from all the giving and shit that you always do for other people. You know, you need to really take the opportunity to secretly pamper yourself and love yourself up. If you got, you know, the Venus retrograde in your 12th house, take a break from the world. Shine independently and in secret. Treat yourself, make it about self-care. And you know, then get back to what you're doing. Everybody don't need to know what you're doing. When you're doing stuff for self-worth, which Venus rules, you got, if it's in your 12th house, you like to do that in secret and behind the scenes, and that's where you'll get the biggest payoff and benefit from it at. So that's Venus retrograde through the 12 houses. A little bit of what's popping off in the United States chart, man. Hope y'all enjoyed the live tonight. I'm finna go kick it with my kid. I love y'all, man. Be smooth. I save the video and throw the motherfucker on YouTube.